Let's bow together. Our Heavenly Father, we bow at this time. We thank you for the gift of life that we enjoy and for the various senses we have that you have given for us to enjoy life. And as we come together as chaplains within the VFW and auxiliary, we ask that you will superintend our time tonight. We thank you for Jim Jenkins and his willingness to present tonight and share from his experience as a VFW chaplain. And so, superintend all that we do, and may we receive some nugget and then bless our ministries. In your name, amen.
Amen.
I'm going to
Amen.
turn it over to Jim at this time. And then, Jim, when you're finished presentation at the end, I'm sure you're going to have some time that people can ask or questions or share. And then turn it back to me.
Okay. If I can remember how to bring in a PowerPoint, Deb?
Yeah, go down to share, which is a little green button at the bottom. You should, are you co-host? Wait a minute, I have made you co-host or host.
Remember to mute yourself. And then if you want to be recognized, the little hand at the bottom, you can
Okay,
indicate
Jim,
that.
I have made you the host. Do not log out until you give it back to me so I can stop the recording properly.
Okay.
Now, if you want to share, go down to the share button at the bottom.
Okay.
And
I got that.
And then you should be able to see, if you have your PowerPoint open, you should be able to see it.
Okay, Deb, bring it in.
No, it hasn't yet. Have you guys ever shared anything on here? It's an experience every time you do it.
I have before, but
Okay, now, did you have,
on the
you have the
PowerPoint.
PowerPoint open on your computer already?
On the bottom, it'll say share.
Well, yeah, but
Click on
he
the
has to
PowerPoint
make sure
and
it's
share.
open first. First,
Yeah.
you have to have the PowerPoint on.
okay.
There we go. There we go.
Okay, now we got it.
Okay, and I'm going to mute myself so you can't hear me, and have a good day.
Okay. I can't see my PowerPoint myself, though.
Jim, go over and click on 2025 515. It says lessons learned. Click on that. I think
I
it
lost my. I kind of lost everything.
Okay. Start over. You've got
Well, I've
Zoom
even.
up.
Okay, start over.
Back out of Zoom. Back out of this.
Ah. Okay, did you lose my Zoom?
No, you need to
PowerPoint?
X out of it. It needs to go away completely, and then you need to go back into it. Open it up again. There you go.
Okay. Well, this is a PowerPoint. I had Deb looked at it and she said it was fairly good, so we'll see. But anyway, just a little history. I got involved as a state chaplain in 2009, which, is some time ago now. And I was the state chaplain till 2021, so for 12 years. And then this year I'm again the state chaplain resigned due to health, and so I've been appointed chaplain to finish the year. So I'm state chaplain again. But anyway, some of the first national workshops I attended, they didn't really do any actual training. And so I was kind of a little bit at this point because I was trying to learn things. I was wanting to know more about things. And so anyway, later on, the National began to publish a copy of the original Chaplain's Handbook, which was produced in 2001 or 2, which I'd picked up a copy, but it wasn't being printed anymore after that first year. Well, later it showed up on the leadership CDs that was given out to the post. And then later, a digital copy was posted on the VFW website, which it is there now, but it's kind of hard to find. And thanks to Chappie, we got a little better place to find it. But anyway, the National Chapel Works began to start doing actual training, I would say in about 2012 or 13, which isn't really that long ago. And that might be about the same time Peter got involved, if I recall. But anyway, my personal challenges were, okay, first off, what do I want to accomplish? So I started setting goals as a department chaplain. And one of those goals is I realized the average post chaplain has no formal training or experience of even being a chaplain. Sometimes they're lay leaders in a church, sometimes they're not, sometimes they have no religion or whatever. I'm not saying that's anything against them. It's just that they don't really know what to do. They're there and probably told, well, you can just fill the chair and say a couple of prayers in a meeting, and that's all you got to do. Well, as we all know, that's not anywhere close to what's really expected. And a chaplain is not the same as the minister of a church or a religious group. We're not even the same thing. And then finding materials to aid in the process to train chaplains was a real challenge at first. I had that one book, but it wasn't in print anymore. So originally I contacted national headquarters and said, hey, since this book is no longer in print, do I have permission to reproduce anything I need to be able to train other chaplains? And they gave me permission to do so. And after a few first workshops, I realized the way the material flowed in that original book. I mean, I was jumping back and forth to get it to flow. And I finally just put together my own abridged copy, which didn't have everything, but had what I wanted to cover at a workshop. But it was a process. And so this is things I just began to learn. And so I reached out and was finding posts to host a chaplain's workshop. The first one was real easy because I went, my post doesn't have a post home, so it's a little harder. But I went to a VFW that's in the next city over and had my first workshop. And in that workshop, I had about a dozen people and met all kinds of challenges. And that's when I met a situation where, you can all appreciate this. One of the chaplains, he was a post chaplain, and he said he was asked to conduct a funeral for a fellow member, but he had restrictions. Read no scripture, do not mention the name God, and no prayers. And I thought, wow, what a challenge. And he had written something and he showed it to me. And when I looked at it, a lot of what he had in there was right out of the bylaws, the rituals. I mean, even though he was told no scripture, he was really quoting some scriptures. He just wasn't saying it was from the Bible. But anyway, I asked him later, when I got to get with him, how did the funeral go with the restrictions? And he said it was well received and they appreciated what he did. And so, we can meet all kinds of challenges. And so we just need to begin to understand what's being asked. How can we work with the individual and accomplish what they're after? Well, I began the first workshops was in the fall of 2009. That's when that first one was. And I held probably about 5 or 6 of them that year. And I went as far as clear to the western state of Kansas. And I live on the very east edge of Kansas. But, I still had probably 20 some people that attended that workshop to a little bitty town that probably wasn't bigger than 300 or 400 people. So it was kind of interesting. But anyway, I had anywhere from 10 to 25 in attendance in those first workshops. And I met some very interesting individuals. I met some individuals that were doing a great job. And it was just appreciated to see that there were some. And by the way, in the early days, I even invited auxiliary chaplains. In fact, about my second or third workshop I did, one of the lady auxiliary members who was in attendance is now currently the state chaplain for the Kansas VFW Auxiliary. So, it's tremendous to see things continuing on. I even had a fire department chaplain attend one. I had some actual pastors attend. But anyway, like I said, I later produced a shortened version to use in my workshops to be able to accomplish what I was trying to instill in them, what was expected of them, what they needed to be like, the fact that they were to be an example to those around them because they were a positive image of the VFW. And by 2011, I actually started putting together a CD that I titled Chaplain Resources that I gave to each one who attended to my workshops. And I didn't charge anything for these CDs. These CDs had more information on them than they would ever probably glean, but it gave them resources that they could go to for help. So some of the things I learned: where do you stand during the ceremonies? Where's the chaplain's role? Setting up the altar and all that. That was all new to me, and to learn these things. And then learning where to find various prayers. I'm comfortable praying off the cuff, but most people aren't. But yet, in certain situations, I find it very beneficial and profitable for me to even write out my own prayer that I'm going to do. And the thing is, when you find examples of prayers in the different resources, remember this: it's just an example. Rewrite it to match your own words and how you want to, the points you want to get across. And then learning the VFW rituals. What is the ritual? What do they expect? What are you supposed to do? The various ceremonies. What's the role of the chaplain? What's the prayer that you're supposed to have? Be prepared. You can get copies of the ritual prayers just on a deal that you could stick in your own Bible. I've actually printed out my own, and originally I just had the opening prayer, the prayer for the national home, and then the closing prayer. And then, upon the recommendation of some comrades from another post in another part of the state, they wanted to see on that back of that a prayer for when they did installation of officers, a prayer for when you do the draping of the charter and that sort of thing. So, it's kind of interesting, the things that you learn about the rituals. So learn the various protocols. Who does what? What are they supposed to do? What's your role? Learn your part as a VFW chaplain. Your role is more than just the meetings. How you conduct yourself in and around before and after the meetings. You visit with the other comrades. You try to find out what's going on. Different ways to conduct rituals for deceased comrades. they're just guidelines. So just remember to do what fits the situation so that you can have a positive image, accomplish a time to honor the deceased, and above all that the family members and fellow members of your post and so forth uh, can really appreciate what you've done. And you know, one of the biggest things I learned, realizing that most commanders do not know what the full role of a chaplain entails. One of my workshops, because this was revealed to me in one of my workshops, that one of the individuals attending was a district commander, and he was there just to learn things and pick up materials because his son-in-law was the district chaplain but couldn't be there. So he was there to learn more about it. And when we got done with going through everything, he comes up to me and tells me, he says, I had no idea what all a chaplain was expected to do and what his role would entail. And so, you know, that was an eye opener to me. And so to invite commanders to our workshops, invite our commanders, include them in on some of the things our chaplains do. And so today, as a result of all what's been going on, we now have experienced leaders available today to help all of us chaplains. We can learn so much more, and we need to realize we never, ever will learn it all. And there's always something new to learn. And so learn who these leaders are. You have some even in your own states and departments. You have some chaplains that are doing a great job. Learn from them. You might be the one trying to teach them, but remember, they have something to teach you as well. So be open. Various areas of expertise is available today. We've had several of these experts on our national chaplain Zoom meetings to cover a whole various topics. So it's not just a set in a box of what we're going to do. We're trying to educate everyone to help everyone to be able to deal more effectively in whatever situation they come across. And we have hospital chaplains. We have hospital chaplains who were in the military. They've been in the VA hospital system. They're hospital chaplains otherwise. And we can learn from them different aspects. And then suicide awareness. That's another one of the topics that we've touched on. And we need to continue to remember that it's a very present danger around us. And we need to be open to be able to help those that might be considering such a thing. Post, district, and department chaplains all have a role. But you know what? The biggest role falls on our post chaplains. So if our post chaplains don't know what to do or how to do it or what they're expected to do besides just offering a prayer and a meeting, then you know what? That's what our role is as district and department chaplains. We need to be teaching them. We need to be reaching out to them. And then resource today. Many departments have a web page with the Chaplain's Corner with educational and training for chaplains. Today in 2025, we are greatly blessed with the resources and experienced leaders. I encourage you to take advantage of the resources today, especially our Zoom training by past national chaplains. And as we look at this, chaplains must minister to all. And here's a quote. It comes out of our VFW ritual. It says, we must be reminded that the veterans of foreign wars is comprehensive in nature, embracing all religions and faith groups within its ranks. The chaplaincy, being non-sectarian, must minister to the spiritual needs of all without regard to either church, synagogue, mosque, affiliation, or non-affiliation. chaplains will need to provide ministry to people wherever there is a need. And here's an interesting fact. In my first chaplain workshop, I read this statement, and one of the attendees in my workshop was a retired Air Force chaplain. And he indicated to me that the Air Force was being sued at one time to drop and not have chaplains in its ranks because of they was being embracing a certain religion or faith group. But because of this statement, they won the lawsuit and were able to retain chaplains within their ranks. And so I thought that was really interesting, to learn that fact. So here's the link. If you want to write that link down, that's where you can go to find all kinds of information. You can find notes on past chaplain training sessions, and it's currently tied into the Cootie Supreme site, but anybody can have access to it. And Chaplain Dale Chappie Dale, Sky Pilot Dale, whatever name he goes by, he has done a tremendous job in putting this together. And so, anyway, that pretty well concludes my PowerPoint. And now to see how to get out of this without closing my
As
Zoom
you are
meeting.
getting out of that, some of the individuals that are on tonight may have something they want to share that they learned from their experience. And so just indicate by your little raised hand.
You can close
Okay, I
that
see.
too.
Brian Morgan, go ahead.
Ron Moran from VFW Post 2072 in Huntsville, Alabama. I was just wondering, what have you found to be most effective and enjoyed in your workshops over the years that it really drew people in?
Well,
Jim,
I
I'm sorry.
as time went, the attendance kind of dropped off some, but yet I kept coming up with new people to attend. And to me, it was just an opportunity. Every time I saw a new chaplain come and want to sit in on it, I saw another new opportunity to help someone to be able to do a better job. And to me, that's what enthused me the most.
What topics were most exciting or got the best feedback from the post members or the chaplain?
Wow. I don't know if there's any one set thing. I think they just appreciated having all the resources and information because, like I said, I gave them the CD and a booklet, that they could refer to. And I think the thing that most of them appreciated most was having a whole booklet full of different prayers, and being able to have something for a guideline or any situation as they came across. So I think that would be the most prominent one.
Frank is on. Frank, you've held a number of workshops. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I found probably and I would agree with these two gentlemen that chimed in, that probably the most valuable thing is they didn't realize all the resources that were available, like these meetings, training videos, the handbooks. A lot of people told me that they didn't even know they existed. So I think the most valuable thing I've been able to do is connect the dots. Here's all the resources. And it's been good to see that people are starting to take advantage of mentorship and calling each other, like, what do I do? Or what do you think of that? That's really rewarding. So making the personal connections and then showing where the resources are.
If I could cut in here, Jim, if you would turn me back to the host, that'll get rid of the Zoom thing on here.
Thank you. Great answer. Appreciate it.
Bob, your hand is up. Go ahead, share.
Oh, thank you. I'm Bob Reese from District 5 in California, and I want to say thank you for letting me be part of this. But the thing that I learned, I've been in this first at the post level and then at the district level, was you get trial by fire right away. I was a chaplain elected in those days when we were elected, and one of our founding members of our post passed away, and I had the responsibility of preparing the ritual and the ceremony. And I will tell you, you want to see one nervous guy, you should have seen me at that point. But I will say this because I'm into computers. I have found that if I go in and just put in Google VFW ritual prayer opening meeting, you guys have got so much stuff on there that you posted up from members. And as somebody said, and I think it was you, Peter, take what's there, make it yours. I was so impressed that our state commander was in at our elections at the last meeting, and she recognized me for changing most of the ritual prayers. And she said it was about time somebody updated this material. There's a lot of these and thous that, you know, that doesn't fly with some of these younger guys. So, you know, as it says, it's supposed to be non-denominational. So just do the best you can and ask, and you find that, and especially these things, they're great. But I do have one quick question. Does anyone here know or can give me some sort of direction as to when and why chaplains are no longer officers elected?
I,
Oh,
I will have to, I will have to kind of give you a little background on that sometime. Give me a call.
I will.
As
Thank
to-
you.
As to what happened over the years at the National Convention. The first time it was brought up to make it a appointed position, I spoke against it and stopped it on the floor. Now, since then, I did not cause any major issue because I thought chaplains it gave an opportunity for commanders to appoint somebody who had an interest in working with people. But at the same time, the reason I believe they did it was because some of the smaller posts were having trouble getting people to run for offices. And so this was an easy out. And I battled it so long, and then I just said, you know what, maybe we can live with this. And so far, you know, it was a little strange, even in my own post, when they installed officers. I was not there, even though I'm the national chaplain. I was at the meeting, but I was not one lining up. That's up to the commander.
Yes.
So your commander is a crucial one on that. But anyway, we just got to flow with it. And my role and your role is doing everything we can to care for those veterans in our post. Anyway, Frank, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, the gentleman that asked the previous question, I didn't catch his name, but he was saying about the D's and the thous and the Old King James English. I'm glad you mentioned that. I've written up an amendment proposal, and it's going to be decided on at our Department of California convention next month. And I am volunteered for the bylaws committee, so I could help push it through. So I'll be working with that, and it should pass. All the members said it's a great idea. So it's going to be going to national in August. So talk it up at all your departments, because the concern was in California that it's a great idea, we all behind it, but there's a lot of old fogies, quote unquote, at national that don't like anything changed. But your argument about appealing to the younger generations, that was my main reason for doing that, because nobody speaks that way anymore. So thank you for bringing that up. And I'm working on it. I'm hoping to get it passed this summer. So thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Until I see another hand, I just want to say our chaplain of the year. Oh, there we do have a hand. Before I go to you, Kevin, our chaplain of the year at the national level comes from the Department of Colorado, Don Spano, and Kevin Reinold nominated him. And Kevin, your hand is up, so I'm going to turn it over to you. Before you ask your question or whatever you're going to input, give us a little insight into Don, and that way the individuals here will have an idea when they see his name.
So, so we've been doing a lot of past bunch of years the state chaplain here, and anyway, this year, every year, 7 years I've been the state chaplain. I've been going around trying to get the chaplains to bring me to events that they're going to. I want to be there with them, see what they do. Well, this year, Don invited me to a lot of his activities and the things that he does, Mount Carmel. He just does so many things for veterans and stuff. He's one of the guys in our state that's doing what the chaplains need to do. I have others that are doing it also. They don't want to be recognized, but if I'm still state chaplain as the years go down through, and I put that on the Lord if he's going to lead me there or guide me another direction. But if I am, a lot of those guys are going to be recognized too because they deserve it. It's not a normal recognition that we're giving somebody an award because they're being recognized for what they're doing. It's for what they're doing for our veterans, their service to our veterans and their families and stuff. So they do need that. Again, it's not really a recognition, but a recognition. But Don has done so much this past year that I've seen. There's other chaplains, like I said, that are doing the same thing, but not everybody can be submitted.
Those of you who go to the National Convention in Columbus, Ohio, and you attend the National Chaplains Workshop or the Chaplains Workshop on Tuesday afternoon, Don's planning to be there, and I plan to present a certificate to him at that time. So go ahead and ask your question, Kevin.
I just want to say that when I first became chaplain with the VFW, I was kind of like everybody else. One, I was trying to learn it all myself. And you can't do that. You have to have mentors. You have to have some place to go, like we're saying here, where people to help you and stuff. So I just want to say that through the years, the mentors that I had, there's more than the names I'm going to say here, but I've had so many mentors and I've improved so much with these mentors. One is the National Chaplain, Peter Hook, Jim, Deb, Frank, and John Holland, who's a past national chaplain also, and he's in our state, and he's helped me so much to get where I'm at. And then the only other thing I have, if Deb could tell us when the new chaplain training is at.
We're going to have a meeting with the committee of senior chaplains, probably fairly soon, because we need to get it on our handouts that I'm going to ask Dale to help me help us have actually. He did a beautiful one last year. When that gets finished, which will be, it won't take him too long. He's pretty quick. As soon as we get the date, we will forward that out through Peter's email system and his newsletter system, and you'll be able to print that handout and use it yourself to give out in your convention. So the chaplains have the date for new training for chaplains. It'll be in August. I'm absolutely sure it'll be in August, and I'm thinking probably towards the end of August.
Somewhere around August 21st, but that don't hold me to it. It could change, but we'll get through the national convention and then Deb will line up. But as I looked at the schedule, I thought maybe August 21st might work, but she will make the final designation as to the day, and then I will get the email out to everyone.
And that'll actually, we'll have the date settled before the national convention, because those pieces of paper have to go out in the national convention as well. So you'll have it probably early August. Or before that even, probably June, because my convention's in June for the state of Missouri. And I bet all of you guys are gonna have conventions in June too, aren't you? June, July? Pretty much. So we
June,
want you to have that in your hand to get out to your chaplains.
Yeah, the state conventions are in June, and we will have no training July and August, except once Deb gets that date, I will get that out to everybody, and that way you can get it to all the new chaplains, and anybody that's a seasoned chaplain can join on that as well. But it's primarily for those that have recently been elected and are just trying to find their way.
I'm going to be working on that. When we do that chaplain's training that day, I will try to make it as super professional as I can get it, so we can record it and put it on the site so that any new chaplain that gets appointed anytime could hit that tape and see that same training as well. Because there's no date on earth that everybody shows up to these things at the same time. So Dale will put it on there somewhere. He'll invent a great place for it, I'm sure. And then the new chaplains will be able to go on and hit that and be able to see it. It's really come a long way. I mean, I remember when I became a chaplain, you know, if it hadn't been Peter wasn't out there in the world, I don't know what I'd have done. And, you know, we each had a website. Mine was more kind of a training site. His was a resource site. And I'm so glad now that it's all gathered together and on that one national site. In fact, that national site beats anything I ever dreamed of. And so we've come a long way. We have lots of resources at chaplains' fingertips that didn't even exist. Even I became a chaplain 11 years ago. 11 years ago, that stuff wasn't even out there. So, you know, we've come a long way, baby. And so if we can just keep training the new guys, we'll be in great shape.
Good.
So
Anything else, Kevin?
just
Go
want
ahead.
to say one more thing to everybody that's on here right now. The hardest thing is getting your chaplains to come to sessions like this. But the only thing I can say is just keep pushing, because eventually sometime they're going to get it. They wonder why I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, because they don't come to things like this. They don't want to listen to stuff. Just keep pushing stuff at them. Eventually they'll wake up.
Yeah.
I think our
Good.
website and the outstanding improvements to the handbook, because Peter got a hold of that handbook about 10 years ago, and he's slowly been making changes. And I was laughing. I printed it off yesterday because I needed to put it in my bag to take to state convention, and it's over 50 pages. And it's so much good information that if they get on the website, print that off, they've got at their fingertips a lot of what they need. And prayers are in there. I think that's probably one of the things I get asked the most. The guy that isn't necessarily a minister or has been a chaplain before is begging for prayers because they don't know where to start. So that handbook is a great help. And of course, if you can get them on a smartphone and get them using the website, all the better. But that handbook is outstanding. So I think those two improvements, that website and that handbook, is really great. But plan on burning some paper when you do, because it's about 50 pages now. But
Frank?
that's okay.
Frank, hop in there again.
Yeah, just a quick question or comment. In your email that blast that went out nationwide, it did state September 21st as the new chaplain's orientation training. So just know that if there's a
September?
date that's already out there.
September?
Or maybe
No, August 21st, and then
August 21st, I'm
September
sorry.
is our new session.
Yeah, so it's
everyone.
already out there. That's all.
Yeah, August 21st is
That's what I
the
meant, sorry.
is for the new chaplains. And then what you saw there, September 18th, we'll officially begin our new season. That's with everyone. And on here, Darren Atkins is the state chaplain of Kentucky, and he's also the nomination, or the Southern Conference nominee for national chaplain. So Darren will be coming on, next year as the national chaplain. So hopefully, his first, session will be in September. And then, Deb, you'll be before that, hopefully, in August, sometime the
In
end of
August, yeah, the new chaplains will be August. We'll do that the 21st. And then we'll roll with the new chaplain, new national chaplain on the September the 18th. And he's gonna have fun coming up with topics. I just can't wait to see how much fun he has with that.
Yeah.
And
Now,
by the way, if you guys have ideas of something that you want to hear you haven't heard before, you need to start telling Peter, me, Darren, somebody, because we can get it worked into next year's training if we know about it ahead of time.
James Stiles, go ahead, hop on here.
I had a question for Frank concerning, he said he was going to make he submitted to department,
Yes.
some bylaw change. I was
No,
just curious.
all the
I'd like to
prayers,
read it if I could.
the prayers and rituals are what I'm updating because it's all in that King James English.
It's where is it?
In the ritual manual of ritual. It's not so that's what's being changed, the ritual part.
Let me
and-
explain, James. When there is a change suggested to the bylaws or the manual of procedure, it begins with an individual. It has to be approved at the post level, the district level, and the department level.
Understood.
Once it's at the department level, they send it on to national. So that's what he's in the process of doing. Now, hopefully, when we get to national, actually, that should be sent out to every department so that you can evaluate it at your convention. But the goal is that when we come to national, there are workshops where they will go over the bylaws, they'll go over resolutions, they'll go over other things.
Understood.
And
Can I
I'm
break
in
in?
the bylaws session because I know that's coming. And those of you who are there, everybody's welcome to sit in. Some people will be assigned to the bylaws or to one of the other groups. But the bylaws is where, if everything is approved, it'll come there, and that's where it'll be debated, and then eventually come to the floor to be voted on. So that's, if I understood your question, he's working on that to get to his department convention, get it approved, to get it up to the next level.
Let me clarify. I understood that he had already drafted his resolution, and I was interested in reading it before I get to the California Department Convention. if
Oh,
it's
you're in
possible.
California, okay.
Yeah, email me and I'm glad to send it to you.
You need my email address, is it what you said?
No, you email
I'll-
Frank and he'll respond to you.
Okay.
Alan Perkins wishes to be acknowledged, please.
Say that again, Deb?
Alan Perkins wants to be recognized. Alan, did you want to say something still?
Yeah, please. It's kind of gone past, the discussions moved on, but they were talking earlier about needing prayers. And the first year I was Supreme Chaplain back in 2012-13, I had a group together and Chaplain Hooks was on it and Chappie was on it, and I forget who else. But we developed a handbook for the cooties, and when we finished the manual part, we added a handbook with like 24 prayers in there that we grabbed from all over the country. And that's still available on the website, I believe. Is that not right, Dale? So
Yes.
that's another resource that's out there.
Yes.
And I appreciate to this day you guys helping with that.
Thank you very much there, Al.
If you-
Dale, that his resources on the Cootie website.
That is correct.
Yes.
And if you need prayers on the go. I put in the chat the link for mobile prayers. So if you're out somewhere and you have your cell phone only, just click on that link and it has all our ritual prayers. It has a lot of prayers on there.
Thank you very much.
It's also available. The link is also on the VFW National website under prayers. Just look for prayers on the go.
Like I said, he's got it covered.
Good. Anything else before we wrap it up? I didn't want to cut anybody. Oh, James, you have another question?
I do. Can you, is there a separate website from National for the chaplains? Did you
Yes.
understand?
If you're receiving the email, there should be a link.
Okay. Question
And-
answered. Thank you.
Yes, there should be a link there. Just go on the link and it should bring you right up to it.
Thank
Now,
you.
when I got involved with the VFW and I was in the post for 6 months and then the chaplain died. Nobody knew me, nobody knew my background or anything like that. But then one individual found out that I had some background, and he suggested to the commander that, hey, maybe that guy could be our chaplain. So when I became the chaplain of the post, I had, I never did anything with service organizations. It was 40 years since I came back from Vietnam. I didn't do anything. All I did was, from the time I came back, I went to college and seminary and then pastored churches and taught in a university. So I didn't do anything with service organizations. I really didn't go to a Memorial Day ceremony, a Veterans Day ceremony, or anything like that. But when I needed the medical care, that's when I contacted the post and I got in. Eventually, they found out I had some background in the area. So when I was told that I was going to be the chaplain of the post, I went home and I thought, gee, what does a chaplain of the VFW do? And I just approached it the same way I did in my churches. I did 18 different intentional interims while I was teaching at the university. And when I would go into a church as an intentional interim, I was new. So the first thing you got to do is you got to get to know the people, and you got to get them to like you. And the way you get them to like you is you have to show yourself likable. You have to show yourself friendly to them. And this was different because I had never been in a bar. I had never been, I'm in a Christian university. I'm in churches. I was never involved in that. So here I am, and the first post that I joined there was so smoky and dingy, and there I am, and there's the bar and the people sitting around and their language and everything. Well, you have to accept them where they are. In other words, and I can't reject them for any reason. I have to accept them. They are valuable individuals, and here I am. I have to show kindness and show myself friendly to them. That doesn't mean I agree with everything they say or they do, but what happened over the course of a year is they got to know me as Peter. They didn't get to know me as a chaplain or the reverend or anything else. They didn't even know I taught in a university. They had no idea my background. And but I just listened to them and tried to be friendly and show kindness and acceptance of them as a valuable human being. And then what happened was, as needs arose in their life, then after I would say almost a year of they accepted me and trust was built, then they began to share with me things that they were going through. And when crisis came up, they would call on me, And that really was the bond that brought us together. Now, I'm now in a new post, and I'm finding it a little bit more difficult because I'm not there as much as I was at the old post. The old post, I would show up throughout the week at various times. We had the people that would come in the 11 o'clock in the morning to 1 o'clock. Then you had the 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Then you had the 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock. 6 o'clock, everybody went home. But I would show up at various times, and no set schedule, but just over a course of the time, I would tell my wife I'm going to the office, and the office was the VFW, and I would just be there. Sometimes, I made a cup of coffee. Sometimes I would be doing something else, and you're just there. And there were times they get to know you and accept you, and that's the biggest thing to be able, I think, for a chaplain, because once the trust is there and you're accepted, then the situations will come as things arise in their life. Now, when I became the state chaplain in Pennsylvania, one of the most difficult things I found were individuals who were, I want to say, Protestant, strong conservative. If they were Protestant, strong conservative church background, some of them had difficulty accepting people as people of where they are, because their goal, as they're taught in their church, is to change them or bring them to salvation. And that may happen in time, but you will never get to that point unless there is a relationship formed. You just can't, go in and start, hitting people cold. And I found that those that had the most difficult time, and I'm a conservative, I'm a Protestant conservative, I'm in that, you would say, fundamentalist group. However, those that were in that group, they had difficulty in their post, but they also had difficulty with me because they couldn't understand why I didn't stand up, and blast everybody in the VFW. And I never could get it through some people's head that you don't attract individuals that way. You have to. It's with like they say, you attract bees with honey. In other words, and being kind and gentle and acceptance, and then the trust, and then those conversations they may develop if that person goes that way. So anyway, I encourage you to accept the people in your post, to love them wherever they are. In other words, and philosophically, they may do different. I remember the first time we had a Wiccan join our post, and he wanted to march in our Memorial Day parade with the Wiccan flag, and they said no. And then he wanted to file a lawsuit against our post for not allowing him. And how do you deal with somebody like that? And you try to be kind and gentle and accepting of them as an individual. But anyway, I share that just from my own experience, that going in, no experience with the VFW. It was 40 years since I came back from Vietnam. And all of a sudden I'm thrust in, and I'm listening to these stories and accepting individuals. And now I've been in it, and it's been a really a godsend for me, and it enhanced my ministry in the long run. Now, each one of the articles that I wrote they were written initially at the post level, And that's what eventually appeared in the handbook. So the post level is where the rubber meets the road, I think. And when you're a district, you're responsible for the posts in your district. When you're state, you're responsible for districts and those posts. But the rubber meets the road because that's where the veterans are in the post, and you have to care for the veteran and their families. Anyway, I share that for whatever it's worth. But I really appreciate you jumping on. It's now almost an hour into it, and thank you, Jim, for sharing. Really appreciate your experience. And we are only a phone call away. Just a phone call away. Shoot me an email if you want to, talk to Jim. You want to talk to Deb. You want to talk to Darren. Just say, hey, what's their phone number? I'll give you that out. And we're here to actually help you. And then electronically, if you need anything, Chappie in Washington, Dale Ionella, his information is, just go to that site. His information's there, and he's been a godsend helping us. So anyway, that's all I have. Jim, Deb, Darren, you want to say anything else? Frank? Okay. All right, if that's it, and now, next month, there's no Zoom training in June, none in July, and none in August, except a new chaplain for new chaplains, but anybody could hop on there. But that word will go out once Deb nails that down. Okay, let me pray and ask God's blessing on you in your own ministry. Thanks again there, Spike, for joining us there from Germany. In other words, I appreciate seeing you. And anyway, let me bow before us. Our Heavenly Father, once again, I thank you for these individuals and their respective spheres of ministry. Superintend them, working in through them, so that ultimately they can care for the veterans and the families in their posts and in their districts. And for those who are state chaplains as they manage those district and post chaplains. We ask your blessing on us. In your name, amen.
Amen.
Well, thank you so much, folks. Good to see everybody.
Thank
Rich,
you.
Rich from Kansas.
God bless.
God bless.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you all.
God bless.
Hope to see you at the convention.
We'll see you.
See you all soon.
We'll see you next month, Spike.
God bless.
Stay on, Jim. I'll get my post back so I can stop the recording.
Spike, are you coming to the convention?
Can't hear you, Spike.
I will be there. I'll be happy to see everybody.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
How about Brian? Brian, you going to be there?
I was already in Washington for the
You were the legislative
conference. Right. And the next time is in October. So I can't come in August because I can't have anybody that's gonna watch my big dog. So August
Okay.
I won't be able to make. But I'm gonna try and do some of the Zooms.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you there, Brian. Appreciate it.
Welcome.
Adam, good to see you from California there.
Jim, in order to make me host again, you need to click on the three blue dots in the right-hand corner of my picture. When you put your hand up there, on me, you'll see it'll come up when you put your cursor over it in the corner. Do you see it?
It's not letting me do anything.
Well, you should be able to click on that and there should be
What are
a
you doing?
menu box that comes down.
Come here.
I'm telling him right?
Yeah.
Hey, Wellman, where are you from, Wellman? Do I have you in my database? Do you get my emails?
Of course, it says mute and the three dots.
Yes, the three dots, click on those.
It won't let me click on them.
Cats.
Well, let me see. I don't think let me see if I'm hold on, let me see participants. Let me make sure.
Wellman,
Oh, you're
unmute
still
yourself.
host.
Good boy.
Do it on mine.
You should be,
Can you
go
unmute
over to
yourself?
the bottom to chat. At the bottom, or excuse me, to
Okay.
participants. Go to participants. Click on that,
Okay.
and there should be a list that comes up on the side of your screen. See it on the side?
Okay.
Okay, then look
There
at
you
my
are. Just
name.
hold on. Wait till they stop
There's
talking.
3
Wellman.
dots on the side in the little box.
Wait till they
Should
stop
be there.
talking, Wellman, then unmute
Okay, you got
yourself.
it, Deb. You're a host now.
Thank you. Did you do it?
No.
He
It
did
just
it?
I
came up
did.
on my screen and said it was on there.
Okay, okay, I'm good. Everybody go back to talking. I
Okay,
just want to
Wellman,
stop the
Wellman,
recording.
unmute yourself. Yes, unmute it again.
It's just
There you are.